You're listening to the Staffa Corner Podcast, a Staffa-tarian look at entertainment and life, with your host, Greg Staffa.
My guest this episode is a talented actress, Catherine Ashmore Bradley. She has performed a career that's already spanned television, film, voice acting, and even Broadway. Many fans know Catherine as Luan Loud from Nickelodeon's Really Loud House, but her journey began long before performing on Broadway in Harry Potter and the Cursed Child and appearing in shows like Law and Order and City in the Hill. Catherine, thanks for joining us today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
You have a fairly large family, is that correct?
Yes, it is so correct. I have my mom and dad, and then I have two younger sisters, whom I think most of the people that know me know. I have a younger sister, Aubin, who played on The Really Loud House with me. She played Lucy. And then I have another younger sister, Alexandra, who's also in the entertainment industry. And then I have two older brothers who have nothing to do with any of this. I have Colin and Obed, who are both in college, and they are athletes, actually.
And when the acting bug hit the family, who was it that first kind of got started doing it? And was the siblings that followed, was that a natural thing? Was it their own path? How did that all happen?
Yeah, great question. I, as the oldest sister, I was actually the one who kind of gave my whole family the acting bug. We all started as competitive dancers, so we had always done that since we were little on competition teams. So we had been performing together for a while, actually. And I kind of got into it through community theater in my own area. And from there, I went from performing in community theater to performing off-Broadway to doing a national tour and then eventually onto Broadway. And when my sisters kind of saw that career progression, and I would always be in the city, I would always be in New York, they would be interested and they would want to start coming with me into my auditions and coming with me into classes. And eventually they also met my agents, and it happens to be that my sisters are very talented. So I kind of brought them into it, but we had all loved performing since we were very little because we had been on stage for ever. I mean, even on dance competitions. So they definitely kind of got into it because of me, but I think one way or another they would have ended up doing something in the entertainment industry.
When you started making your own path into acting, was there any, this is my path, why are my sisters following? Or did you really embrace it and kind of take a mentoring role? Like, this has been my experience so far, you're still young, but here's what I've learned, trying to help your sisters? Or did you let them take their own path?
No, I mean, me and my sisters are best friends. I think there's never been any competition between any of us that's just completely, that's out of the question for us. We're all best friends, and I think we're all so unique that there's really nothing to compete with at all. So we're very, very supportive of each other. I mean, I want the world for my sisters. And what's actually really interesting is when you're in the entertainment industries, the opportunities you get to work with your siblings. I mean, I worked with Aubin on the Loud House for 4 years, and I don't know how many sibling pairs can say that they worked with their sister on Nickelodeon throughout their childhood together. It gave us such an amazing opportunity to have such unique memories that we're going to remember and we're going to tell our kids about, and we're going to think back on when we're 80 and be remember when we did that together? That was crazy. So I think it's really, honestly, if anything, brought us closer. And I'm so excited for my sisters to continue to flourish in their own careers and find ways that we can continue to work together, because that is also very important to us. We're very, very, very close.
And as you mentioned, you worked with your sister on Really Loud House. Was there anything that you learned in watching your sister and working with your sister about your own relationship that enhanced it, or was there anything that you took away from it that really changed your relationship in working with her?
Yeah, working with your sister on set is kind of interesting because it's a different relationship than with other actors. I mean, when you're working on a set with other actors, it's like as close as you are with them. Like some of my best friends are on that set and they're still my best friends to this day. But like it's more of a very professional relationship. When you're on set, it's like, this is our job, we're here. You don't correct people, you stay in your own lane. With me and Aubin, like, because we're sisters, we kind of have that like closer bond where if we think that something, we have maybe an opinion on what she could do for this thing, I can help her and we can collaborate and work through the scenes together, it's a really interesting dynamic. And she gives me advice and I give her advice. I mean, I respect Aubin's opinion when it comes to acting so much, because she's so talented and she approaches material in ways that like I don't think about, and I approach material in ways that she doesn't think about. So it's nice to be able to bond and do that together. But I mean, you know, it's interesting because at the same time, we're sisters, but we're also co-workers. So we both respect each other's boundaries on set either way at all. And I give her space to go do her own thing and like work and flourish and do what she needs to do. And she definitely gives me my own space as well. So it's just like towing that line of professional, but also knowing that we go home to the same house at night. So
I'm guessing not many actresses have had to worry about one of their co-stars saying, I'm telling mom.
Right.
If something gets heated in the moment or whatnot.
I mean, for sure. Like me and Aubin, I mean, just like any siblings, like she's 3 years younger than me, and we were growing up in a house together. And mind you, we would go home at night, we would sleep, and then we would wake up at 6 a.m. together, and then be on set all day together, and then go home together. So we spent like 24 hours a day together. So obviously, you know, then we got into little bickering arguments, and it's just funny. It's like looking back on it, we had such like really funny memories and little squabbles and this, and it was a really cool experience. Like we're great. Like she's my best friend, and she's going to be a sophomore in high school, which is crazy because when we started the Loud House, she was like in fifth grade. So it's been interesting watching her grow up, not only as like an actress, but also as a person.
Nice. It's kind of a nice bond that you two have.
Yeah.
Now,
it's really
you've
cool.
done Broadway and you've done film and TV. How has your approach changed between doing the two mediums? I mean, Broadway, you get that instant reaction. If they find a joke funny, you hear the laughs. If they enjoy something, they clap. Whereas TV, you could have a funny joke and there's no reaction.
Right.
How do you approach the two different mediums, and how does that change you as an actress?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're two completely different animals. I grew up doing theater and doing live performance, so I just think like Broadway, it's like getting on a roller coaster. It's like it's an immediate adrenaline rush. It's like this, like you step out on stage and there's 3,000 people in the audience who have paid to see you, like eager, and like you feel their energy wanting to watch you. And that's such a special experience because they've paid to see you. You have to give them a certain caliber of performance, and that pressure can be a lot, but it can also be amazing. And I grew up on stage, so I have learned to thrive under pressure. And it's also like it's just a different form of acting. It's a lot more physical. Like there's people that you're performing to that are 60 feet or maybe even further in the back of the balcony, that they have to see your facial expressions and how you feel, and they're not right up close to you watching you on a computer screen. So it's very different. And then when it comes to film, I honestly find it interesting because you get to delve more into the specific nuances and the mannerisms that might not be picked up on a bigger stage. Like when you're on screen, every little gesture, every little like hair touch or thing becomes a part of your character. And I find that like discovering those little nuances of your character is very interesting. And it's one of my favorite parts about film acting is getting to get really specific. And you can get very specific on Broadway for sure. I mean, I feel like when you play a character for a certain amount of years, that is like all of those specificities are flushed out, but it might be picked up better on a big screen. So I just think it's very, very different. But also, I think what's interesting is when film actors go to Broadway and they they're so used to being able to have many different takes of a line, or like, let's try it this way, and getting real-time feedback from the director versus like, the show is laid out, now you go do it. So it's like you have to be there 8 shows a week every single night, hitting the same emotional range. It's like, it's super tiresome, and it takes a certain work ethic, which I think a lot of people don't understand about theater.
Is there, deep down, is there one that you prefer over the other? I mean, because I would look at like the Harry Potter on Broadway, and my guess is that your character, if you looked at the first day you performed and the last day you performed, it was very different probably. I mean, not hugely different, but subtle differences over the course of time. Whereas like a character on Law and Order, where you might only have 1 or 2 appearances, that character is kind of ingrained in that one episode. Right. Was there a liking more of one or the other? And in effect, is with Broadway, you got to develop more of a character. And I mean, even with the Really Loud House, your character got developed over seasons and stuff like that. But there's kind of a flow to that season. Whereas the Harry Potter, you're kind of trapped in a moment in time, right, but you're adjusting. So versus a casual growth in a character over seasons. Is there anything particular that you like one over the other?
Well, I think it's different. Like, I think with TV, I started Luan when I was like 12, and I ended her when I was 17. So it's nice to kind of create a relationship with a character where they can develop as you develop as a person, and me becoming older and like finding different things I enjoy about myself and bringing those to Luan was a very interesting dynamic that, like, again, like you said before, like a lot of people don't get to do in theater. But with theater, I think it's what's interesting about theater is that every time you can do a show, you can find something different about it. You can find different choices. You can try the line a different way. You can put a spin on this vocal. So it's like you can pick up all of these different little fun things to play with, which I think is definitely different than theater or than television, as you said, because like once you do a scene, you do the scene, you move on, you never do it again. But with theater, you have multiple opportunities to find different things in the material. I'd have to say I prefer performing on stage, but I prefer the development that comes with television. Like, I prefer developing Luan as a person over a bunch of different seasons, but that adrenaline rush when you first get on stage on Broadway is unmatched.
If a young woman came up to you, a young, child almost, and said that she's interested in acting and wants to do some form of acting, but isn't quite sure if she wants to do theater or if she wants to do film or TV, any advice that you would give to them as far as, what's the best way to get your foot in the door and kind of get that comfort of being in front of an audience?
Right. I mean, personally for me, I grew up doing theater, so I wouldn't have like a specific way to say, this is how to break into the film industry, because I broke into the film industry by having an agent through theater and then them obviously sending me film auditions. But I would tell a young girl, if she came up to me and she asked my advice on how to break into the film industry, is, what do you like to do? Like, do you like to be in front of a live audience? Do you like feeling that pressure? Do you like having that kind of relationship with that person immediately? Or do you like performing in front of a camera? It's just very, very different. And my advice would be to put yourself out there. Like, if I was a new actor breaking into the industry right now, there's amazing resources. You have Actors Access, you have Backstage, you have all of these different ways that you can look at for projects online and try to submit yourself. Like, a lot of people don't have agents and they submit themselves to films, to off-Broadway shows, to readings all the time. And then once you get a few credits on your resume, that's when you can reach out to agencies. So that'd be my recommendation for kind of breaking into the industry right now. But for film and television, I think it's honestly about what the person prefers. And if they haven't done either, then try to experience both in whatever capacity you can. I think breaking into the film industry, just saying like, oh, try to get on TV, like that's something that people spend years trying to do. And same with Broadway. you have to build that up. You know what I mean? You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to audition for Broadway. Like, I mean, you can like go off, but starting with like an Off-Broadway or reading or community theaters, like that's how I started.
Is there anyone, I mean, you've been doing this as a young child starting off. Was there anyone in particular that really stood out as a mentor? Do other actors kind of take you seriously? I mean, here is this child and these adult actors are working with children. Do they treat you as an equal? Is there actors and actresses that take a paternal role almost that kind of watch over you? Is there anyone in particular that really stood out as a mentor? How does that work being a child actor in such an adult industry?
Well, I think being a child actor in an adult industry is its own kind of animal. I think every single project is different. I think when I was super, super young and I was performing on Broadway with an all-adult cast, obviously we're not hanging out. We're not like, I'm not going to dinner with all the adults and stuff, but there is no one ever walked over any kids or anything. I never have experienced anything like that, to be honest. Every single adult that I worked with when I was growing up, whether that was on a film set or on a stage production, has always been super, super caring, has always like encouraged and nourished like my relationship with the industry. I think the industry can be a very toxic place, and I've been blessed to have worked with adults that want to encourage me to continue on it rather than try to like have some like weird ego. I've been really lucky to do that. When it comes to Loud House specifically, Brian Stefanik and Jolie Jenkins were the two parents that were on the show, and they became like second parents to me in real life. They were absolutely amazing. Every single director on that show has also been amazing. I've worked with acting coaches throughout my entire life. My mentor, Teresa Pitius, who is like my second mother as well. So I've honestly been blessed to have a really great relationship with most of the adults that I've ever worked with. But I think what's important to know about being a kid in an adult industry is that you cannot be afraid to speak up for yourself. I think a lot of kids can get taken advantage of because they're afraid of the adults, afraid of the directors. They don't want to like cause a scene, but it's ultimately like you're a kid. Like you need things that the adults don't need. You need extra time. You need a break every now and then. You need certain things that they don't need, and you need to be able to advocate for yourself, because if you're a child in an adult industry with possibly adults that are going to mistreat you, you need to be able to recognize that and stop it in its tracks rather than letting people walk all over you, which I have never had that experience, but I know that if I did, I would definitely be able to advocate for myself.
That's good. Now, the same kind of line of question, we've had Sophia Woodward on, who also was on The Really Loud House. That cast has a lot of kids in it. Right. Did the kids all get together and form kind of their group? Was there almost like a camaraderie that was there that has stayed with you?
Yeah, I mean, we had a great time on set, actually. It was really nice because there was a group of all different ages. So we had kids that were 10 to 14 who all hung out all the time. I mean, I know my little sister, Aubin, was super close with all the young teenagers. And me and Eva and Sophia and Lexi and Annika, like, we all, like, we were like the more senior side of the cast. Like, we had an amazing friendship, all of us, like big friend group. Like, we'd go out to dinner all the time. I actually lived with Eva Carlton, who played my older sister. We lived together with Aubin, and Sophia essentially lived at that house as well. Like, we were all really, really great friends. And it was nice because there was a person for kind of everyone, and there was like a great age range. So all the kids had somebody that they could like relate to in a way. You know what I mean?
Now, you're 18 now, correct?
Right.
So you're at an interesting age as far as an actress is concerned. Most of your roles have been children or young teens and stuff like that. But now you're at an age where they can shift to more adult roles. Mm-hmm. Is that something that's mindful? Are you looking at making that shift? I'm sure a lot of your fans and followers are from younger shows. Are you looking as how you're approaching roles or the roles that you're looking for? Is that changing? Are you shifting your focus, or are you allowing more of a natural progression into more adult roles, or how are you treating that?
Yeah, I think I am shifting my focus a ton. I mean, I forever will be grateful for Nickelodeon and for Broadway and for all of the different experiences that have led me to where I am, but I'm being very mindful about what I audition for and the kind of projects that I'm looking at. I mean, I definitely feel like I'm at this point in my career, in my maturity, in what I want to do with my range and how I want to kind of challenge myself with new roles. I'm definitely looking to pivot that into, I am pivoting that into an adult direction, which I'm really, really excited about. And I have a great team behind me helping me navigate that. But yeah, I think I'm super excited for what's to come. I have some really great projects coming up that are what you just said, pivoting into the adult genre, which I'm really excited to share with everybody. And yeah, it is a really interesting time in my career because I did that. I feel like that was great. My childhood was great. I did the Disney, I did the Nickelodeon thing, and now it's kind of time to not close that chapter, but try to open a new one, maybe to do drama or horror or a adult comedy, like a dark comedy. I have so much interest in those genres, and I'm really excited to see that kind of expand for me.
And if a younger role came up where they want, because often they'll have actors or actresses play someone younger and whatnot, is that, like you said, you don't want to close that chapter, but is that something that isn't registering as high anymore, that you'll still consider it, but it's just not a higher priority, whereas something more, where you're playing a young college student or something like that might be more enticing?
Right. I mean, actually, I literally have an audition for a 15-year-old today. So I definitely have not closed that door. But I mean, I'm just a little bit more mindful about the kinds of projects I'm going in for. I mean, people that are 27 are playing roles that are 16. I mean, so it's not about age specifically. I think it's more about the tone of the genre that I'm going in for. I am not open. I'm completely open to playing a 15-year-old. It just depends in what context. You know what I mean? It's not about the age specifically. But yeah, I agree. I think I'm definitely more enticed towards older leaning roles right now, or even roles that are my age, like the 18, 19 sphere. But it's more of a tone genre thing than an age thing, to be honest.
Is it fair or unfair when I go out in public and let's say some guy cuts me off, I can flick him off and be angry? You have much more of a public figure. Your roles have been inspiring, I'm sure, to many young women and girls and stuff like that. When you carry yourself, is that something that, fair or unfair, kind of lingers in the back of your mind? Or do you separate the two and say, I am an actress, but I'm also Catherine, and I can get angry sometimes. I can, lose my temper sometimes, or I can have a bad day. You have much more of a spotlight on you versus someone like me. Is that a fair or unfair thing that you have to carry with you, given the Nickelodeon and the Harry Potter stuff?
I don't think it's a fair or unfair thing. I think when you choose to work in the entertainment industry, specifically as an actress, you have to understand that whatever kind of comes along with that it's because you chose that career. So I don't think it's unfair at all. But I definitely flip people off when they cut me off. I think everybody, no matter how in the spotlight there are people, and I think it's very important to allow yourself to be honest, especially with your audience. I think there's a lot of fakeness out there, and I think that authenticity of the bad days, of the anger, of the sadness, of the insecurity that kind of comes with being an actress and being a person in general is important to show your audience. But I also think as a role model for young women and for kids and for people in general, you need to balance that out with being a role model and stepping into that position that you've created for yourself and doing things that maybe someone that doesn't have that position would do. I think it's important to advocate for charities I believe in and causes I care about and education and women's rights. Like, I think it's very important for me to use my platform to talk about those things and to spread positivity. But I think there's a good balance of being a real person and being a role model, and I try to toe that line well. But I don't think it's unfair to be held to the standards that I created for myself.
Is there anything that you're looking forward to as an actress that some of the safety rails of being a child actor has been taken off now, where you're able to do, some of your own stunts, you're able to do kind of more adult scenes, you're able to do more, grown-up storylines. Is there anything in particular that you're looking forward to that kind of now has been unleashed, where I can not have those kind of safety net of being a child actress, where like, oh, we can't have you doing this, or we can't have you,
I think everything that you just said, I think all of that is extremely enticing as soon as you're 18. I mean, you kind of walk onto set now and you own yourself, rather than having your parent there or having a guardian there or having your set teacher there. It's like you have this newfound independence that I'm really excited that I've been exploring on sets that I've been working on since I've turned 18. And you kind of have an opportunity to do more adult scenes and do stunts and do and work with actors in ways that you couldn't before. And I think it's really interesting. I also think when you're an adult actor growing up on set as a kid versus like with people that were over 18, like the people that are over 18, they are there so much. So you really are immersed into set culture. You're with the crew, you're with the director, like you're kind of on set in a way that is different than when you are a child, obviously. And I've been really enjoying experiencing that as well. But I'm super excited to continue to do more advanced scenes and like more integrated storylines. I think is definitely really interesting to me.
You see that as being a natural progression? Because it almost sounds like, not to be too corny, but it seems like you're almost in a cocoon and now the butterfly has emerged. So they're two different animals completely, but they're the same animal. Do you see your acting as being a natural progression into more adult roles, or do you really see kind of a definitive transformation now, and now that you're the butterfly that's 18 and you can approach things differently, if that makes any sense?
I think it's a natural progression. I mean, like anything, I think I grew up in the industry, so the way I've been approaching roles has been changing as I've gotten more into my art and my craft and how I look at roles in general. I mean, if you showed me how I looked at audition 3 years ago, I would be like, what are you doing? Like, what is going on? Like, that is not correct at all. So I think as skills continue to develop, as I continue to develop as a person, my career will continue to develop. But definitely being 18 as an actress opens new doors that you didn't have before. So I don't know if that answered the question.
No, that answered it perfectly. Now, you live in a different time. You are very much the TikTok, the Instagram generation. How much has been doing that and interacting with fans on kind of that level? Do you do a lot of interaction? I know you post a lot on TikTok and stuff like that. How is that engagement important to you? Is that just more of a side hobby, or is that kind of a responsibility that you feel?
I as much as everyone in my life would like it to be more of a career for me, my heart lies with like acting and film and television, so I am definitely not super into the whole influencer situation, but I do like using social media as an outlet to connect with my fans and connect with people, not even my fans specifically, but connect with people that are interested in the same things I'm interested about. I think social media has given everybody such a unique opportunity to connect with people that you would never have met and talk with people about things that you would never have had the opportunity to have a conversation with, and learn from all those different kinds of people. I mean, I read my comment section all the time and they ask me, what are you doing to audition for this? How do you feel about this film? How do you navigate school and your film career? And getting to like talk with people outside of my like bubble of like my inner circle has been really, really cool for me. And I really enjoy doing that. And I also, I like I like social media. I think it's fun. I think it's creative. I think it's a cool way to kind of express who you are to other people. And I definitely enjoy doing that.
What has been the hardest part about being a young actress? I mean, so much of your stuff is public out there, but there's also the private side. I mean, so much of your acting has been like with your family or your sisters and stuff like that, but there's also the private side that you have with your sister. There's also relationships and boyfriends and, like you said, school. How is keeping that kind of balance something that you're able to maintain, a public figure, but also keep the private and enjoy being a young adult?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a pretty open book in real life, but I also like to have a lot of my life to myself. I've never been homeschooled, so I've always been in real, like, not real school, but, like brick and mortar, like building school. So I would be on set for 3 months and I would have to be synchronous with my classes, because if I went back on a Sunday and we had a test on Monday in class, I would be there first period taking that test. So that's been a big part of my career, has been really balancing school and filming. And I'm also extremely academic. I take very difficult classes. I love math. I love writing. I'm actually going to college in the fall, as well as trying to film my movie and TV stuff that I have coming up, which has been a challenge to talk with my advisors about, but we're getting through it. So that's been very interesting. School is a really, really, really big part of my life. I mean, I've written in books. I've wrote a piece with Rebel Girls, which is an organization and a book series that I really believe in, and I speak out about literacy and women's literacy specifically a lot with a charity called Room to Read, which I'm super involved with. So academics certainly takes up a huge part of my life. And I also, I'm a social girl. Like I have a bunch of friends who are super, super important to me. And I have a lot of family who's also very important to me. And I've been blessed to have my friends be super supportive and understanding of my career. So when I'm like, hey guys, I'll be back in 3 months, like they're like, okay, like go do your thing. Like we cannot wait for you to come home, but like we're also cheering you on and supporting you back at home, which has been really, really essential for me. And I think what's nice about having these people around me back in my hometown and where I live is that acting is interesting in a way where you go onto a set for 4 weeks, and for 4 weeks those people become your family and become everything. But I think if you don't have that system at home, or that family, those friends, that base group of people, it can be very hard to have long-lasting relationships just because of the nature of being an actress or a writer or a producer or anything in the entertainment industry. So it's very important to me to maintain my friendships, maintain my relationships with my family, stay in school. All of that has been a really big part of me being an actress. It was never just like, okay, Kat, like you're going to decide to be an actress when you're 10 and that's going to be your life. I've always kind of led this like Hannah Montana vibe, which is a really big part of my career and my life in general.
I want to get to the future stuff, but I had one more question.
Yes.
Now I have two because you said something that popped into my mind. First one being, if you could go back in time and talk to your younger self about acting and choices that you've made, is there any advice that you would give to yourself? And is there anything that you would hold back letting yourself know, because that journey is so important?
Yeah, for sure. I would tell myself to not be scared to make bold choices in your auditions and step into the room with a specific perspective on a character. I think a lot of the time I was so attached to the character description or these directors' previous work that I would kind of make sure I geared towards what I thought they wanted versus what felt natural to me. And I would tell myself to F that mentality and read a character and see what resonates with you and follow that instinct. I would definitely tell myself that. What I would withhold is that, I don't know if I would withhold anything. I think a lot of my journey has been like very very great and natural and interesting. And looking back on it when I was 10, like there's nothing that has happened over the course of like 8 years that I would be like, ooh, she doesn't need to know that. Like nothing like that, really at all. I think it's definitely, I knew when I was getting into this, like that the acting industry is a lot of rejection and a lot of redirection and a lot of no. And I knew that when I was little, and I chose to do it anyways. So I don't think there was a moment that I would have to go back and be like, actually, like, so yeah.
Okay. And one more question before we get to the future stuff, but you had made a comment that made me think of it. When I was your age, when you started acting, I had no clue what I wanted to do with my life. I wanted to be an astronaut, or I wanted to do, unrealistic things. We always have dreams, and we always, because you were young when you started. Was there any point where, because there has to be some, like, oh, this is a cute phase that she's in, and she enjoys doing these little plays, and she enjoys doing this, but one of these days she'll grow out of it, or she'll move on to some, adult thing that she wants to do and grow up and be an adult. Was there any pressure like that for you, or was this something that you always knew that you wanted to do?
No, there was never any pressure like that for me. I think I'm of the belief that you have a limited time here on Earth, as morbid as that is. And I don't think there is a dream that is too big for somebody, because you need to make the most out of what you want to do with your life. And why, when I'm 10 years old and I found something that makes me feel so alive and that I'm so passionate about, ever steer away from that? And that drive, I think if that dream had changed, and I think if the way I felt about acting and the way I feel when I'm on stage or when I'm behind a camera had changed, that maybe I would have wanted to do something else, but that's never changed for me. And I think it's really important to recognize when you find something you're really passionate about, whether that be writing, whether that be sports, whether that be business, whether that be astronomy or acting, to find that passion and chase that in whatever way you can. I know that's not always realistic, but in this case, I decided to chase that, and it's been working out so far, knock on wood. But I see myself in the entertainment industry in a bunch of different capacities throughout my entire life, no matter what.
Nice. Now let's talk about the future. I know you can't talk about everything, but what are some of the things that fans of yours can look forward to seeing you in, or that you're working on?
All right. Yes. Okay. Well, I actually got back from Chicago yesterday. I just wrapped a movie there, or not wrapped because I have to go back in a week, but I'm filming a movie there called Chicago Nobodies, and it's a soccer movie, which is actually really interesting. I've never done a sports movie. They're working with the MLS and the Chicago Fire to produce this film, and it's a really, really amazing story, and that's coming out in the spring of 2027. I play a character named Jenna, who I won't give too much away about, but she's very, very cool and sassy and sharp and like a great, fun girl character, which I'm really excited for my fans to see. I'm also I'm going actually into rehearsal starting next week on an off-Broadway limited run of a show called Spandex, which I actually, it was the very first show I ever did in my career. And I did an off-Broadway production of it in Minnesota when I was 9 years old. And it's been a long journey with that show, but now it's actually off-Broadway in New York, which is super exciting for the project. And I'm returning and revising my character. Obviously, it's been rewritten because I'm older now, which that's really cool. And I'm doing that with Tiffany, the 80s pop star, which has been really, really awesome to work with her. She's an absolute joy, and just hearing about her experience, like as a top charting artist in the 80s is insane. And Liz Piccoli, who is the director / choreographer, and Daniel Levin, who's the composer, is like, I've grown up with them as well. So it's really cool being able to return to that project. And that is September 17th through the 27th. So super limited run, but it's going to be a really great time. And then I am I mean, this is a little bit more on the down low, but I am going to be working on a horror film in the fall, which I'm very, very excited about. And I just started my production company. I co-founded Ashmore Productions with my two sisters and a team that is behind us, which has been really great to tell female-driven stories, films and television shows. And starting that production company and getting that business off the ground has been a really time-consuming project for me. So I'm doing a bunch of these different things, and I'm moving into college in 2 weeks. So, it's been a crazy, crazy couple months.
Wow. Quick follow-up. Where in Minnesota? Where, I assume in Minneapolis?
Yes. Yeah. So Spandex is a 80s musical, or it's an 80s inspired musical about like aerobics and that whole like workout era and like the Crystal Lake competitions and that whole 80s vibe, which has been really, really cool. And that was a production that started in Minneapolis, in Minnesota. When I was 9 years old, I did a role. Her name is Dory. She's very, very cool. And at the time, Dory was like this young girl who's coming into aerobics class, and she's the only one in there in a group of adults. And I guess it was kind of reminiscent of my career at that time, to be honest. But now, as an 18-year-old, I've worked with Liz and Daniel to kind of revise her and rewrite her, and we actually have written a new song for her in the show, which I'm really excited for the audience to see, because it's going to be its debut in the musical as into a woman coming into herself and watching these women around her rediscover themselves. The story is a female-driven narrative about women of all different ages kind of refinding themselves or discovering themselves in new ways through dance and through aerobics. And it's really interesting to kind of play a girl transitioning from girlhood into womanhood, watching these women, these older women, rediscover themselves. So it's been a really cool character to kind of work through.
Well, I'm in Minnesota, so that's why when you said that.
You're in Minnesota?
Yep.
Oh my God.
About 45 minutes away from the cities, so it just caught my eye. Wrapping things up, you did mention that there's some charities and stuff that are important to you. Yes. Not to put you on the spot too much, is there anything that you would want to plug that we can link to that charity-wise that you want to mention?
Oh my God. Yes, for sure. I am a global ambassador to the charity Room to Read, which is a charity that advocates for women's literacy and for literacy around the world in general. It is absolutely amazing. They develop programs in different countries to send teachers out or send books out or send these entire learning programs out to help young children get access to reading and writing and books. And it's an incredible organization that I'm so honored to be able to work with. And yeah, please check them out and look into them. They're absolutely amazing. I also work with a book series called Rebel Girls, which is a feminist book series and supports empowering young women to discovering themselves and just girls in general. I think it's important for girls to have resources to look at and get inspired from women telling these stories of courage and strength and resilience against the patriarchy. And I think it's really important for women to look at.
And I'll put links to those in your little bio here. Wrapping things up, I appreciate your time. I'm running a little late for you, so I apologize for that.
No worries.
But final question, so much of what you do, comes almost pre-written. We see Catherine, and she did the Really Loud House. She, Harry Potter. It's always kind of included in when we mention your name, there's kind of a grouping of what we talk about. But when you get up in the morning, you go into the bathroom and splash a little water in your face and look in the mirror for the first time, who is it that you see?
It's an interesting question. I think when I wake up in the morning, everything I do for my 10-year-old self, for who I looked at my mom and I said, Mom, I want to be on Broadway. And I told everybody around me, guys, I'm going to be on Broadway. And everybody was like, you? No, you're not. And then 2 years later, I was. And I do it for that girl who said got a million no's told to her, and she persevered through that. So every single day, every single time I'm faced with rejection, faced with an obstacle or a challenge, I push through it because I know that I've been doing this for so long that I owe it to myself to continue to persevere. And I'm so also lucky to have these opportunities to do all of this. So I do it for her.
Catherine, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate your time and look forward to seeing what the future holds for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I really love speaking with you. This has been a joy.
Thank you.